One of the big tips, though, is to, when you're shopping for a composer, do a little research on what style of music they write in, because
Right.
not all composers write in all styles.
Hi, and welcome to Kelly, where we talk about life, your life, my life. And through Kelly, we hope to inspire. I have Luke Truan on the show today, and you are the first composer that we've had on the show.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so excited.
That is
I love
awesome.
to show different elements of the film industry because obviously that's my heart and my passion. I train actors. And something that I really try to bring to my actors are the different elements of the people that they have to work with, or who puts together a film, because actors are kind of singular a lot of times and they don't really think
Right.
about all the things that goes into it. And I hear a lot of actors, especially when you're starting out in the independent film world where we all start off for free. And the actors, they get so upset about the films that they gave their time to and they didn't get finished, but they don't really understand the workload that goes on a filmmaker when they don't have a budget to work with. They don't have the money to put
right.
into their things, and to get people like you, a composer, to add elements to a composer. Oh my goodness, a composer adds so much. I mean, it's a whole.
Try.
It's a whole. It's a whole language of itself.
Yeah.
And
It is.
getting all those elements to work together. So, how did you get into composing? A little bit, just a little short. Your music
Sure, yeah.
history.
So I guess I started playing music when I was 14, classical piano, went through all the competitions, went through school, studied at Brevard. Years pass, I started composing film in 2013.
Okay, when the film industry kind of showed up here and
Kind of started showing up a little bit,
Uh-huh.
and I made a relationship with a student at SCAD in Savannah.
Okay.
And so he needed somebody to score for his short films. And so we started with one, and then it ended up being four.
Uh-huh.
So he used me his entire career and after.
Wow. So this is a good thing to talk about. So you started off with him. Basically, you were creating together, probably on a limited budget or no budget.
Right.
And now you still work with him, but you've figured out how to generate money through that process.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Right, exactly. Right.
Yeah, I know. I love mentioning that because people don't understand that people that you start off with, that you build chemistry with, and a lot of times those teams grow together. And
Oh, yeah.
my husband has used the same composer since they grew up. They've known each other for a really long time. He's almost always used the same composer.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you find something that's good, it's good. So you're from Atlanta.
Yeah.
How has being part of the film industry been for you?
It's been great. I mean, I meet lots of new people all the time. One of my favorite things to do is go to Get Connected.
Uh-huh.
It's an Autumn Bailey Productions
Yes,
thing.
yes. I do the screening room for them a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll probably go to the next one.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, I mean, I love meeting new people, and it's always great to see what people are into.
Uh-huh.
And there's always some new, really good story that people are trying to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just good to see where different people's levels are too, and
Oh,
what
yeah.
they're
Absolutely.
creating. Voiceover equals acting. What is
Right.
this?
So, a lot of people think of voiceover and acting when they're starting out specifically as a separate thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I found being in voiceover myself and then scoring for film that it's actually acting, your voice acting.
Yeah.
And then, so that's.
Do you
thing I
know
always like to
something
mention.
that I teach in my studio? Probably about 7 years ago, I started really seeing acting as music. Like I started really seeing that we're told in acting a lot that we talk about notes a lot. And I started really realizing that we're hitting notes. We're hitting emotional notes, our tones, and the things that we use. If we don't hit the note correctly, and it really identifies the level of emotion. So I teach people that you're angry. Well, to what degree are you?
Right.
Are you angry? Are you a 5? Are you a 10? Because those are very different degrees. And if you hit it right, you think about being angry at a 10, you're psycho. You've gone off the deep end.
Yeah, kind of off
But if you just think of yourself being angry, you can't really hit that in the right. And the same
True.
way composing, like building, uh,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely, yeah.
you're building the emotion and getting the right emotion to hit in the right place.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're telling a story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
through the
Yeah,
through
literally.
the words. The future of the film industry here in Atlanta. Where do you think? Where are we going?
A lot of people think it's the, Hollywood of the South, and
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
Yeah, we all hope so, right?
Yeah, I hope so. And so, I mean, I make connections with people all over the world,
Uh-huh.
actually.
Yeah.
And I always try to bring it back here to Atlanta,
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think once you start moving along and you've been moving for a while, it doesn't it doesn't really, I mean, we're proud of Atlanta because we've seen Atlanta go from nothing and build that infrastructure and everybody pull together and
Yeah.
try to give what they have to cultivate things here. Content is now very, very important, building the content that we need for Atlanta. But
Yep.
also just realizing that we're all just artists and we're willing to work out of, I'm definitely willing to work with people in LA and New York and Greece and
Right.
wherever. We're all just artists finding our way in the world, and we want to affect the world.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
where do people find out about you?
Well, I have a website.
Okay.
It's LukeTruanMusic.com.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think, what sets you apart from other composers?
I'd probably say a style of music. Hybrid orchestral, there's a lot of people that do that, but I like to try to make something a little different than everything in the box. I always try to add a real instrument into it. Right. Like on the last one I did called We Are Warriors, Epic Orchestral, I actually hired a real live singer
Okay.
and then produced it with the in the box orchestral
How
stuff.
fun. How fun.
Yeah.
So when you're working on a project, you get a new film over, like do you have a process that you kind of go through? Like how do you start seeing it? How do you start feeling it?
So when I first get to a project, sometimes there's a script, and I'll read the script, and I'll start coming up with some ideas. Sometimes there's some artwork, and then sometimes I get in the full film after picture lock. And so that's really my favorite is when I get the full film. Even if
Right.
it's like almost finished, I can start really finding a timing for it all.
Right.
And then, but when I first start, it's kind of a blank canvas. It's kind of like, okay, how am I going to tell the story of this, but with music?
Yeah.
Because you have to complement everything in the film. When somebody's
Right.
talking, the music has to not get in the way.
But that's fun for you, right?
Oh, it's totally fun. It kind of ebbs and flows with the timing and the pace and the moods and the feel of the whole thing, and
Yeah.
each scene.
Yeah.
And then what I like to do, depending on the type of movie, is I'll make character motifs, like John Williams did with leitmotifs.
Uh-huh.
And then I'll kind of weave those into the main themes throughout the film.
Oh,
like there's an
interesting.
overarching theme, music theme,
Uh-huh.
and then I'll weave the leitmotifs in with that as well throughout the whole thing.
That's interesting. Cool. Well, I hope I hope you keep working with the people and get bigger and bigger. What's your favorite project that you've worked on thus far? Or maybe a couple, whatever.
Actually, one of my last ones that I did was called For Us,
Uh-huh.
and it was kind of a drama, but it was about a relationship between a husband and a wife and her relationship with drinking, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of one of those types of movies.
Yeah.
But that was one of my favorite because it really got to touch on a subject that was really important out there in the world, and I got to write some really, really passionate and emotional music, and I got to model it after some stuff that was really dear to my heart. So
Yeah. Oh, I wish young kids would watch that. Not just young kids, because I've seen a lot of people that didn't really get into drinking until they were older, and just the effects that it has on a family. It's devastating. Some advice you can give to someone wanting, somebody who, they're wanting to get into the film industry and they're wanting to talk to directors about their music. Like, how did you said you met somebody at SCAD,
on
but
Facebook.
yeah, social media is wonderful. how would a director reach out to you?
Yeah, obviously you can come to my website and then fill out the form page. You can actually message me directly on Facebook. That happens a lot. People say, "Hey, I have a movie. Can we talk about music?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And one of the big tips, though, is to when you're shopping for a composer, do a little research on what style of music they write in, because
Right.
not all composers write in all styles. And like for me, I can write in lots of different styles. But some composers may not write in a hip hop style, or they only do orchestral, or they only do chamber music. So I would say that would be a good thing to kind of get a feel for what the composer writes like, for see if it matches your movie, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also
And,
realizing how much that fits into your, how much it enhances, and knowing that good work normally comes at a little bit of a price.
Yeah, and knowing your budget
Yeah.
would be a really good thing. Setting a budget for the music. Don't forget about the music budget, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be another tip. And most people don't. They usually have a music budget. But yeah, that would be the two tips
Yeah.
that I've
Well,
seen.
thank you for so
Yeah.
much for joining us and being a part of the show, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Come back every once in a while, share with us.
Sure.
I love. I mean, one thing that my son is a musician, but music is not something that I've never played an instrument, and it's
yeah.
something that I regret so much. Like, yes, you should.
It's never too late.
I know, right? I got so many things to do in my next life. We hope that this segment educated and inspired you.